Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start this lesson off by giving all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai Ba'ashim Rakak. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Honors to all the brothers who are fervently pushing the word in sincerity and in faith. And Shalom to all the sincere believers. Now, this lesson is just going to be a quick one. Just based on the fact that, this America is crumbling, and the world is basically going to hell in a handbasket, and this is what those of us of the hopeful elect want. This is what we want to see. Because all of this destruction and chaos that's going on are signs of the times. Signs that we are in the last days. Signs that we are almost up out of here. So, Adawan Ratazar, this is an edifying lesson for you, or to you. So 2 Timothy 3:1, this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. And when you look up the definition of perilous, it means dangerous. It means full of danger or risk. It means dangerous, hazardous, unsafe, hard to bear. And if you've been paying attention to the state of the world and everything that's going on, that's the time that we're in. All these businesses shutting down, people losing their jobs left and right. The economies are crashing. The infrastructure in these countries and in these cities is, it's horrible, These bridges haven't been getting maintenance. Tunnels haven't been getting maintenance. Apartment buildings, people's homes, the cost of living keeps increasing. The cost of living keeps increasing, but people are not getting paid enough to balance it out. So people are out here working 2, 3, 4 jobs just to try to keep a roof over their head, let alone have a car, be able to go on family vacations, go out to dinner and things like that. A lot of people, they're on the edge out here. And, crime has definitely increased. Because people, especially here in America, they'll be like, oh, crime was always a thing. Yeah, but people are starting to care a lot less about the consequences. There's a lot more shootings, a lot more stabbings, a lot more home invasions and things of that nature. People don't care anymore. And then people will just sit there after they've committed whatever crime. They'll just sit there and wait for the police. They're not even trying to run away anymore. People really are just fed up. They don't care. And that's dangerous. It's dangerous when people are just so fed up that they stop caring about the consequences of their actions. But these are, like I said, these are the signs of the times. And those of us of the hopeful elect, we're excited seeing things just deteriorate and fall apart more and more. Because it just shows that, hey, the Lord is about to come back. Yahweh Shai is about to come back. So those of us of the hopeful elect, man, we're excited. We love to see this. It's the people who are wicked and love being here, thriving in wickedness, who don't like to see this. Those are the people who are complaining and talking about how they wish they could go back to the way things used to be. Because they just want to live in a perpetual state of oppression. But those of us of the hopeful elect, we want up out of here, man. We want this place to crumble. But we also know that everything happens at an appointed time, like it says in Habakkuk. Habakkuk 2 and 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. And that's right. The vision of the downfall of America in particular is for an appointed time, and we're seeing it play out. This place is crumbling. This place is falling apart. And the full downfall of America is going to happen a lot sooner than even we know. But we're watching it play out right before our eyes. And the people who are the most upset about it are these Edomites, these so-called self-proclaimed white people. Because on TikTok in particular, all you've been seeing is these Edomites just coming out the woodworks, just letting it be known that they can't stand, in particular, what they would consider black people, which we already knew that. Like, that's nothing new. That's not news to us, you know? But yeah, there was this one Edomite lady who said that she thinks there should be a genocide on our people, you know, because, you know, she said that it would give her children a chance. Because at the end of the day, Edomites know that they are the most mediocre people. You know, they know that. They know that they really, on a level playing field, they know that they can't compete with any other, what you would consider in this day and age, race of people. Especially Israelites, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They know they could never compete with us on an equal playing field. And as much as these Edomites, these so-called white people, as much as they have done to, you know, get rid of us, to keep us down, our people are still thriving. And that just goes to show that we are the Lord's people. We are his chosen people. Because look at everything throughout history that these Edomites have done to our people. But yet we're still here. They can't get rid of us, and that's because the Heavenly Father doesn't want them to be able to get rid of us. And they hate that. You know, we are a constant reminder to these Edomites that they are nothing. You know? They'll never be smarter than us. They'll never be stronger than us. They'll never be faster than us. In no way, shape, or form will they ever be better than us. And that's why they want to get rid of us. They hate us so much. But the Lord's not going to let them do what they want to do. And they're just in a constant state of, you know, just wanting us gone. But what they don't understand is that they're going to be the ones that go. The Lord is going to get rid of them. The Lord is going to destroy America. The Lord is going to wipe out these Edomites. You know, in the kingdom, these Edomites, they're going to be in chains. They're going to be in slavery, like how they had us in slavery. The only difference is that they're going to be getting double the judgment that we had to go through. See, what these Edomites don't understand is that there is no winning for them. There is no version where they come out on top. America was the best they could do. You know, back when our people were in chains, that was the best time for white people. It was. It was the best time for these Edomites. And that time has came and went. And it's never going back to that. Even though that's what they want. The Lord is not going to let it happen. So these Edomites, they're just going to have to sit back and watch as the Lord just destroys their precious little kingdom. And yes, at some point, there are going to be race wars here in America. And yeah, majority of our people are going to get wiped out. But what these Edomites don't understand is that the ones of our people that are going to get taken out are the ones of our people that the Lord doesn't want in the first place, because they're wicked, because they're 2/3. So the Lord is going to allow them, these Edomites, these hate-filled, racist Edomites, to wipe out the amount of Israelites that he wants them to wipe out. But there is a remnant who's going to be saved. But these Edomites, they see that America is falling apart, and they're blaming so-called black people and so-called Hispanics for it, which makes no sense, because Edomites are the majority in the government. They're the ones calling the shots on everything. So it's their fault that, ultimately, of course, this is the will of the Heavenly Father, and the Heavenly Father, wants America to fall apart and deteriorate. That's why it's happening. But the Heavenly Father put these Edomites in charge. These Edomites are the ones who have control over the policy and stuff. Like, the streets are all messed up. The bridges are falling apart. Tunnels are collapsing. Everything is falling apart. And Edomites want to blame everybody else. But it's like, it's your fault. Y'all are the ones that are in control of all of this, right? So you can't blame anybody else, because nobody else has any power to do anything. Majority of the presidents that this country has had have been Edomites. So it's like, Esau, these Edomites, they want to act like they're so, great and so much better than everybody else, and they're, the best leaders and all of that. But yet everywhere that they are is falling apart. Because Edomites were never meant to be in charge in the first place. They were never meant to be running the show and anything. The reason why they're in the power position that they're in is because, first of all, us as Israelites, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans primarily, we went off. We are the Lord's chosen people, and we went off. We were worshiping other gods and just following the ways of the heathen, and we pissed off the Heavenly Father. So this is our punishment, being under the most base people on the face of the planet. So that's why things are the way that they are. The Lord is showing you who, what true wickedness looks like in the form of these so-called white people. They are what true evil and wickedness looks like. And that's why this is honestly the last, the last captivity for us. Because this was the worst captivity. This is the captivity where our people have forgotten who they are. That's why they're out here calling themselves black and Hispanic and Latino and all of this, because they don't know who they are. They don't know that they're the Israelites. We are the Lord's chosen people. And the Lord put us in this position. He brought us down because he had to teach us a lesson. Because a lot of our people just weren't learning. Every captivity that we've been through, our people, they would act up. The Lord would punish us by allowing these heathens to get up over us. And then we'd cry out to the Lord, and then he'd send somebody to come save us, to deliver us. But this captivity that we've been in, this has been the worst out of all of them. And it's the worst because it's the last. And those of us of the hopeful elect, we understand that. Once the Lord brings down these Edomites this time, this is the last time. These Edomites, these so-called self-proclaimed white people, they're never going to rise again. They're never going to be in any power position ever again. They're going to have to live out 1,000 years of the most hardcore, brutal slavery anyone has ever had to experience. And then the Lord is going to round all of these Edomites up. And by the hand of his people, Israel, he's going to erase these Edomites off the face of the earth. So all these Edomites running around talking about there should be a genocide on so-called black people and the Native Americans and the Hispanics, they're going to be the ones that end up having a genocide done on them. And we're already starting to see it play out. You know, as much as these Edomites think that they're going to be able to make America great again, everything is going in the opposite direction of that. Like, they're talking about, oh, you know, Trump is going to bring back businesses. More businesses are shutting down. You know, Trump putting all these tariffs on all of these countries. Now these countries are pulling their business from the United States. So businesses are shutting down, and the country's losing money. Everyone's turning their back on America, and they're just working with each other. You know, these cities are falling apart. The people are falling apart. Everything is going to hell in a handbasket. And these Edomites, they never want to take accountability for the role that they've played in this. So they're blaming everybody else. They're blaming so-called blacks, Hispanics, the Native Americans. They're blaming everybody else because they don't want to take accountability for the fact that it's their fault that everything is crumbling. They were never fit to rule. They were never fit to be in charge. And like it says here, Baruch 4:31, miserable are they that afflicted thee and rejoiced at thy fall. Here it is, America is supposed to be these Edomites' kingdom. You know, it's supposed to be their happy place, their paradise. You know, but yet they're miserable. Yet they're always crying and complaining about everybody else. Talking about, you know, black people are the problem. It's like, yo, majority of our people are in the ghetto, in the hood, you know, can't get out of there. So how in the world could our people be the problem when we're stuck in these small areas? Here it is, Edomites have majority control of everything. You know, they're the ones living in the nicest houses in the nicest areas, you know, with all the cars and all the money and all the this and all the that. But yet at the same time, they're still miserable. And the funny thing is that the Lord really did these Edomites dirty, because these Edomites are pissed off that we are still here, that the Israelites are still here, we're still around, they still see us. You know, we're still in these neighborhoods, in these towns, in these cities. They can't get rid of us. You know, they're constantly saying, oh, telling our people, go back to Africa, go back to all the, you know, whatever country you came from. You know, but the thing is, as many people, not just brothers in this truth, but people just in general have pointed out that if we tried to leave, they wouldn't let us leave. If every so-called black person was like, all right, we're going to get on these boats, on these planes, on these trains, you know, and we're just going to leave the country, they would shut down the ports so that we couldn't leave. They'd shut down, you know, they'd shut down the ports so that we couldn't get, so that the boats couldn't leave. They'd shut down the airport so that the planes couldn't leave. They would not let us leave, because as much as they hate us and they don't want us around, they know that they need us, because Edomites, so-called white people, they can't survive on their own. They can't. Our people had to teach them how to wash their own ass. So it's like, how in the world could they survive without us? They take everything from us. They take how we dress. They take how we talk. They take our inventions. On TikTok, they take, Jake's dance moves and they try to replicate it. But because Edomites have no rhythm, it doesn't look right when they do it. They try to take our food recipes, but, Edomites don't understand seasoning. So everything that they do just fails. They hate us so much, but they want to be us so badly. So they're like constantly in this conflict in their mind. They don't want us around, but they need us around. They hate us, but they want to take everything that we do. It's like they're just one big ball of chaos. Like, Edomites are constantly in a state of misery because they've been lied to by their own people for the longest time that they're the best race of people on this planet. They're the greatest, they're the smartest and all of that. But history and reality is constantly showing different. The only reason why these Edomites have anything that they have is because their ancestors raped, robbed, murdered, colonized, lied, cheat, did all these horrific things to get it. Because we all know that on a level playing field, these Edomites, they would have got erased. That's why they don't want any other race of people around. They talk about they want to get rid of the blacks and the Hispanics and the Native Americans. And if in a hypothetical world the Lord allowed that to happen, they'd want to get rid of, who they call the Chinese and the Indians and, and the Japanese. They just want to get rid of everybody until it's nothing but a planet full of Edomites, and then they'd wipe each other out. So it's like, at the end of the day, these Edomites, they will always lose. Because that's the way the Lord created them. The Lord created them to always lose. That's why you see these Edomites, they have everything and they're still not happy. Because they know that at the end of the day, the only reason why they have any of it is because it was taken from other people. They didn't create anything. They stole everything. And now it's all falling apart. They can't hold on to what they've stolen. Baruch 4:32. Miserable are the cities which thy children serve. Miserable is she that received thy sons. And like I said, all of these cities across America, across the world, where our people have been slaves, these cities are falling apart. They're deteriorating. Every time you turn around, there's businesses shutting down, homes being foreclosed on. The roads are complete trash. The bridges are falling apart. The tunnels are falling apart. Everything is just collapsing. Because everything that these Edomites, these so-called self-proclaimed white people, touch falls apart. Edomites were not created to build, they were created to destroy, and that's all they do. They destroy everywhere they go, they destroy everything that they touch. And these Edomites, they have lived by the sword. That's how they got everything. And they're going to die by that very same sword that they've lived by. And we're watching that play out. And it's a beautiful thing to see. And Thawada Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai for allowing those of us of the hopeful elect to be able to witness it, to be alive to witness it, and to have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to understand what's going on. And we're excited about it, man. Like right now, I'm sitting in my car. It's a beautiful day, sun's out, blue sky, but yet as beautiful as that is, what's making me happy is knowing that this place is gonna cease to exist soon. Soon I'm gonna have my enemies in captivity. Soon everything that our people should have, we're going to have. You know, once the kingdom of heaven gets established, you know, and our people get put back in our royal status, you know, life is going to be the way that that's when life is going to be the way that it's supposed to be. Clean air, clean water, clean food. Our children are not going to be degenerates. You know, our people are going to be back in their righteous royal state. And we're going to have these devils in chains. And we are going to beat the living daylights out of them every chance that we get. They are going to suffer more than anybody has ever suffered. And it's all going to be under the, you know, the instructions of the Lord. The Heavenly Father is going to be the one that's orchestrating everything and giving us the power to dish out these judgments upon them. So all these Edomites that run around here thinking that the Lord loves them, he doesn't. He hates them. Even in the scriptures it says, Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated. The Lord hates these so-called self-proclaimed white people. He hates these Edomites. And in the kingdom, they're going to physically experience that hatred that the Lord has for them through his people, the Israelites. So for all the sincere brothers and sisters out there, hey, you know, regardless of what's going on in your life, you know, what struggles you may be going through, keep your head up, you know, because, hey, we're almost out of here, man. Our captivity is almost over, you know, and nothing but beautiful times are ahead for us. So, you know, stay fervent, stay diligent, stay prayed up, stay circumspect, you know. Because we are living in these last days, man. And there's that old saying, things have to get ugly before they get beautiful. And the ugly is going to be, you know, when the race wars start and the civil war happens and the famine happens and, you know, the purge-like events happen. But after that, after all the, you know, the war and the violence and the nuclear destruction, once the kingdom of heaven gets established, it's going to be non-stop peace for our people forever. You know? And that's what we're striving for. That's what we're running towards. That's what we're praying for. That's what we're fighting for. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up here. In closing, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, the Wadi Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, for putting the spirit on me to do this lesson. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Honors to all the brothers who are still fervently pushing the word in sincerity and in faith. And shalom to all the sincere believers. Hope you stay strong, stay safe, stay fervent, stay circumspect, stay prayed up. Adawan Ratazah. Till next time, shalom.